Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to have Dr. Shaista Kazi on our platform today. She's a dermatologist, cosmetologist, and also a trichologist. She's been running two centers in Mumbai. After her MD and DVD from Mumbai, she flew to Thailand and Miami and did her super specialization. Today, she works in the area of dermatology, cosmetology, and new technology, with lasers, threads, injectables, etc. But her special interest beside the aesthetics medicine is in pediatric dermatology. Not only does she have an in-depth understanding of various pediatric issues, but also being a mother of three, she excels in making children comfortable during examination and treatment. Today she'll be sharing tips, tricks, advice, short exercises which can help us feel good, which can help us improve our skin and hair as we go through this roller coaster ride of pregnancy, post delivery, and during lactation. Thank you, Dr. Shaista, for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, honey, and you're really doing a great job by collecting so many doctors and other people who can actually help the parents and the mom right at the time when she needs the most help. And
Thank
sometimes
you.
she's most alone at this time. So she needs every guidance that she can get from reliable sources.
Thank you so much. So, Dr. Shaista, I just wanted you to basically, start with telling us a little bit about how important it is to take care of our skin and hair during pregnancy, because that's one thing that we've heard time and again, that it becomes the most beautiful during this journey of pregnancy, and you don't need to really worry about it. So, but from your perspective as a super specialist, how important it is for every pregnant woman or during postpartum to be attentive to your skin and hair.
Okay, so see, I would like to start this by saying that we women, generally, when we're young girls, we really look after ourselves. But once we become mothers, once the process starts, somewhere we put ourselves on a back seat, on a back burner, and everything becomes about the child.
Mhm.
Right? And what we do mirrors everybody else's reaction to it. So for everyone, it becomes about the child. So the pregnancy is the last time when you're going to be alone without your baby. This is the time you can build a foundation on which your skin is going to last for the rest of your life. So look after yourself right from your pregnancy. Don't be fooled by the pregnancy glow, because that is going to fade in the so-called fourth trimester. So let's start looking after our skin right in the beginning. I was seeing another talk of yours with Dr. Nozair, where he said that it's so important, to prepare yourself for the pregnancy. The
Absolutely.
same way, during your pregnancy, it's extremely important to prepare yourself for what's going to happen after that, so you don't get completely shaken up after your baby comes out. So we need to start early in the pregnancy to build your skin barriers, to build your hair in a way that it lasts even after the baby's out.
Mhm.
So we'll start with prenatal, okay, the first trimester. As the news comes, you're pregnant, you're so excited, skin is last on your mind. And generally the signs start showing towards the end of the first trimester.
Mhm.
For some women, they're really lucky, have glowing skin, great hair. But for some women, acne starts right in the first trimester, pimples. These women could also be among a group of women who've never had acne before. So they've
Understood.
not had adolescent acne, they've not had any teenage problems. So they're really wondering what's wrong, and they're like, pregnancy doesn't suit me. The issue is that we can't do too many treatments at this time, because we wouldn't use retinol creams, we won't use isotroin, even benzoyl peroxide. The studies are not enough, though some doctors do prescribe it.
Mhm.
So what do? I mean, some of the doctors will be like, don't worry, it's all temporary, which it is. So most of these things luckily will go away, but we still have to live through those few months, and we just can't keep going like that. So there are
Absolutely.
some things that can be done. Like clindamycin is a safe local application. It can even be taken over the counter. Though I would always recommend going to a dermatologist, because it's a very sensitive time. But that is safer than the other things. Even certain antibiotics, if you come to us, we could give you something like azithromycin, which will help calm the acne down, so that you don't have to, suffer, because there are lots of other things that happen in during pregnancy. You don't want your skin to be one of the things causing problems.
So there's this perception, doctor, that most of the medicines or ointments might be having steroids or very strong medication which can really harm me or my baby. Could you demystify that a little bit?
Sure. So first of all, steroids, it's just got a bad name, but it's not a bad thing. It's absolutely safe in pregnancy. So if you use a steroid during your pregnancy, it's safer than using anything else.
Mhm.
So if I give you a Momate, for example, mometazone, it is safer to use mometazone than by chance if you use a adapalene or retinoid or any cream with a retinoid, because that is teratogenic. It can affect your fetus. So it's very important you don't self medicate during this time. And a steroid is not always bad if it's given to your by your doctor, but telling you that I'm giving you a steroid, maybe a mild potency or mid potency, because it will give you relief without any complications.
Mhm.
So trust your doctor, but follow them to the T. Don't just take a cream and then get busy with your pregnancy. Don't follow up and keep using it, because that could lead to some side effects we don't want.
Absolutely.
Also,
So,
there are much milder things than, steroids and all, which can be used. Just plain antibacterial creams, so that it can just control the acne till it starts going itself.
so there are things like, pigmentation, hair growth on body, bumps, etc. that come during pregnancy.
True.
Are these temporary or they have permanent, marks on your body, or do they stay forever?
So luckily, most of it, everything is temporary. The pigmentation that you're mentioning starts by the second trimester. If you're talking about the melasma, the butterfly rash that we get in these regions, yes, sometimes that does stay on even after pregnancy and requires some treatment. It's easier to treat this once you're finished with your pregnancy, your breastfeeding and everything. We have a lot of treatments, peels, lasers, creams, but that is for later. There is some other sort of pigmentation that comes on your back. It comes sometimes around your nipples. The areolas look pigmented, bigger on your buttocks. All this will go. You look like yourself again. Don't stress. Even the stretch marks, sometimes there are a lot of stretch marks. Even if we do things to avoid it, I'll tell you what I would suggest to try and bring down the occurrence as much as we can. But even then, the stretch marks also 70% will go. For the other 30%, yes, there are ways to make them go if you don't like them. Again, now stretch marks. I'll tell you a little bit about a
Sure.
stretch mark, because it's something which most of my patients are really worried about. And latest, what has happened nowadays is that people are very much for stretch marks, and they're like, these are your kids' first drawings, and you're a tigress, so they are your stripes. But if you don't feel like that, don't feel guilty about it. We have lots of paper on which our kids can draw. We can frame them, put it up. You don't need it on your body. And yes, they can go. So if you start early, like start in the first trimester itself, start
Mhm.
using any vitamin E oil. You can mix cocoa butter, shea butter, use it once, twice a day. In spite of this, if you are genetically prone, or if you are having twins, or if you have a big baby and there's a lot of stretching, you will still get the stretch marks, but the incidence might be lesser than what it would have been if you had not used it. So we must try from our sides. Again, once the baby is delivered after the fourth trimester, the marks, especially the red marks, will start fading faster. It's the white marks which is the issue. They are the ones which generally don't go easily, the ones that turn white fast. So for them, again, we have a lot of lasers that we can do. But this we would hold off till, the mother is sure that she's completed her family, and also that she's ready, she's not breastfeeding, and she's okay to go in for something like that. We also have scar removal creams, which we can use post delivery mixed with one of the oils. And you mentioned PUPP. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is purpura and urticarial plaques of pregnancy. This is a big name. It's basically just wherever the stretch marks are, on all those things, you'll see small boils or big plaques, and they are itchy. Like the mother is crying, she's forgotten everything else. She just can feel this itching and burning. And it's so sad because we can't do much. But the good thing is, it's a miracle. As soon as your baby's out, you'll heal completely. There'll be nothing left of this. You won't even remember that it happened. Till then, symptomatically, you can treat yourself with aloe vera. You can put some calamine lotion in the fridge and apply it just for relief.
Mhm.
And you can take some antihistaminics which are safe in pregnancy, like polaramine, even fexofenadine is fine. These are okay. I don't want to push any company names or pharmacological names of these drugs. This will give you relief without any side effects temporarily. And once you deliver the baby, you'll forget that this was there.
So one of the things that happen, we talk a lot about postpartum soon, But what happens during pregnancies, some people don't have a tendency to control their diet, and they end up putting on a lot of weight, because of which we get double chins, right? So just wanted to ask you, are there, because at this time again, you can't take any medication, you can't do any strong exercises. Can we do something about the face? Because at least you want that to be looking good at that point of time,
Of
right? It
course.
also makes you feel good about yourself.
So see, the double chin is a thing that this area is very lax. So even if we don't put on a lot of weight everywhere else, the arms and the chin, this is what starts showing up even in thinner people. Like I hardly put on maybe not even 9 kgs in my pregnancy, even with twins. But even then, the double chin starts showing, and we don't like it because it doesn't match the rest of our body. So on my page as well, I've shared some simple exercises that we can do. So if we just do this, we make 2 pin size and we just go up. So start from the chin, move up. Both sides. The mothers can do this once or twice a day as they get time. The other exercises like this, you go from the outer angles of the lip, 1 and 2 fingers below the chin.
Wow, that
It's a
easy.
good thing. You fix your hands like this. So there has to be a lot of pressure given below the chin so that you can feel the pull there. I might be looking funny doing the exercises, but I hope it's helpful.
Yes,
And
it
the
is. I
other
mean, I didn't even know there were exercises for, double chin, which was so
thing,
simple and easy.
one more, just keep your thumbs below your chin and push the chin down. So these are 4 exercises. They are very easy. They can be done while just sitting anytime, maybe twice a day, 5 or 10 counts each. This can just help to control it a bit and tone the area so that there's not less laxity and less appearance of double chin, as much as we can manage without, procedure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, when is it a good time to start preventive measures, or, how do I know that I need treatment? And this is not just something that happens during pregnancy or postpartum.
So see
What
now
are the
postpartum,
symptoms?
there are a whole new lot of issues that come up postpartum, like dark circles. For example, the mother doesn't get sleep and she's feeding through the night, sometimes even watching a lot of Netflix or reading books while she's feeding. So there's a lot of strain on the eyes. So again, and you don't want to go in for too many treatments right at that time. So in that case, what can you do? So again, I'll show you 1 or 2 exercises which can be done for around the eyes as well. So you can take any cream, like a vitamin C cream is very safe at this time. You can even use larger proportions of vitamin C because we can't use a retinol cream. You massage any cream for the under eye in circular motions and move it out. Basically what happens, the eyes dry out, and because of that you try to rub them. When you're not getting sleep, you rub your eyes. There are small dilated capillaries in this area. You tend to break them. The clots collect over here and it gives a shadowy appearance to the under eye. So when you move it out like that, you're moving all that out, so it doesn't give that entire shadowy baggy puffy effect below the eye. After this, the next thing is you pump and glide. So you just press it and push it, press it and push it. You can even do it up and even down, all around the eye. And the third thing is small pinches all around. I'm just doing it here, but the entire eye. So this the mother can do. You can use methyl cellulose drops, the tear drops that are available plain. You can keep putting them every 2-3 hours if you're awake for a long time at night. This prevents dry eyes, so even your eyes will be fresher. And when you don't have dry eyes, you don't itch them and the dark circles go down remarkably. Also, if you're watching anything like a book or a laptop, iPad, TV, take a break, stare at something green for some time and then come back. Give your eyes a break. It's not just about the vision, it shows on your face. This was about the dark circles coming to the hair loss. Again, for which, we have a lot of patients who are really panicking because they're like, doc, it's not like a little hair fall. It's not the normal postpartum hair fall. They even make a simile to cancer patients, so they're like, my hair is falling like the cancer patients. It just keeps coming out, how it happens after radiation and chemotherapy and all. But that's normal. There's nothing to worry. It's expected. So, there's an old age myth. The older people used to say that as the child starts giggling, your hair starts falling, the mother's hair. While I will say, please don't blame your child for this. Let his giggles just be that. But yes, it does match the milestones. So that's how this has come up. Once the child develops the smile and the social smile and starts laughing, around that time you'll start seeing that the hormones have taken a real dip and you're losing hair. To explain a little bit about this, the hair is generally in three cycles, phases. The catagen, telogen, anagen. These are very technical terms. So if I explain it in a more simpler way, it's a growth phase, a resting phase, and a falling phase. So throughout your pregnancy, you've been really lucky. All your hair has suddenly gone into the growth phase. So you have luscious, velvety locks, and you're like, my hair's never looked better. Then for the first trimester, fourth trimester, the first this thing when you're out, for the first few weeks, the hair is in the resting phase. So again, it's not falling. And then by the time the child develops the smile, your hair has altogether gone into the telogen phase or into the falling phase. And they all are falling together. This can last up to 6 months, and in some unfortunate cases, up to a year. And it's very difficult because you feel you're going to go bald. So while this is
That's a big
temporary,
worry.
yeah, and you won't go bald, so I'll just tell you, you won't go bald and you will get your hair back. But also this is the time when, you know, most patients suffer from postpartum depression. There's so much unwanted advice. Your child is always crying, everybody's telling you he's hungry, you don't know if you're doing it right, and you want to at least look good, you know, when visitors come. You don't want to be down and out, so you cannot wait for your hair fall to stop. You have to treat it then and there. So there are a lot of things you can do even then to reduce it. It won't stop. But amla is very good. Our local amla, you get the powder, you can mix it in honey, yogurt, you can even have a spoon with water. You get protein powders, which are very good for hair. There are specific ones. I wouldn't take the names, but you can consult your dermatologist. They'll be happy to help. So you can mix this 2 tablespoons in a glass of milk. This helps. Biotin works magically at this time. 10 mg biotin. If any tablet with 10 mg biotin, if you take that, it will reduce the hair fall. So at least because stress is another factor which is going to increase your hair fall. So the more you stress about your hair fall, the more you're going to lose hair. So don't stress, it's all coming back. So if after a year you still keep having hair fall, then of course there are deficiencies. You might not have taken your vitamins properly through breastfeeding, post-pregnancy. So I would tell you, consult a doctor anytime in your fourth trimester once, so after your baby's out, so that you know if you're doing the right things. Your dermatologist, you must consult your dermat, so that we can tell you, are you taking the correct vitamins for your skin, hair, nails. We don't want any deficiencies to come in at that time, so that we don't suffer later. Also for the stretch marks, some people forget, or the pregnancy has been just too tough, you're on bed rest, some people have bleeds, you don't care about the stretch marks at that time. But once the baby's out and you've forgotten all that, you're like, oh my god, I can't look like this. So it's still not late, we can still help you out even at that time. We can start with local applications, and then whenever you want, we can do laser. Even about lasers, there's a misconception that lasers are not safe during breastfeeding, during lactation, but they are completely safe. I have trained lasers with Dr. Nivad Polnikon. He has been termed as the father of dermatosurgery in Thailand. He's extremely senior, a very bright gentleman, amazing doctor. He even does lasers in pregnant women. He
Oh, wow.
says absolutely safe. So while I wouldn't take that risk, I wouldn't do it. I trust him completely, but if I was a mother, I would not feel safe. So I don't do anything for my patients. I wouldn't opt for myself. But I've breastfed my boys for 2.5 years. I've done lasers in myself. Even now with my daughter, I'm still doing it. It's very safe. So if you do want, a hair removal also, like we mentioned, you get a lot of excess hair during your pregnancy. Most of it, yes, it does fall off, the body hair. But if there is something, some area which you were doing a laser before you got pregnant, you want to complete it, lactation or breastfeeding is not a contraindication to do it. You can go ahead.
Absolutely, because actually in India, we've been talking about lactation only for 6 months or a year. But in Germany, in Scotland, my friends have been feeding their baby for almost 4 years.
So
So they
WHO
go through lactation for 3 to 4
recommends
years.
Absolutely. And why not? I mean, see, I understand it's not the primary source of nutrition, but it is a form of, it's a bond formation. There are so many good antibodies that we are supplying to the baby, and the baby feels safe. So 2.5 years easily can be done. If the milk is there, if the mother is willing, there is no reason not to. And there are no restrictions. Even like for products, like for face products, for skin lightening creams, we don't use salicylic acid, we don't use retinols, but a small proportion of glycolic acid, vitamin C, lasers. We can do everything on the mother. So she can keep breastfeeding and her skin and hair can look great.
Wow. I mean, that's actually a whole lot of information for me as well. I had no idea that, because when you're a mother, people just tell you everything, that you can't do a pedicure, you can't put makeup on yourself, you can't even put like a basic foundation because it has silicone. So, there are so many things that you suddenly start becoming aware of and overwhelmed with. So thank you so much for sharing that, we can do a lot of things as far as we are aware that what are the ingredients in the products or the medicines that we are using.
Because of this, I've seen patients who've stopped breastfeeding because they feel it's putting a halt on their normal life, their skincare, their hair care. So you can even color your hair when you're lactating. There's no issue at all. You can straighten your hair. Of course, be careful with the straightening because we don't want more hair fall. So maybe something like a cysteine is fine, but something like a keratin or the very harmful rebonding, yes, that will cause a lot of hair fall. But none of these things are connected to breastfeeding as such. So even if you are feeding your child, you can go ahead with all of this.
Understood. So wanted to ask you, doctor, what are the changes in the skin post-delivery, good and bad?
Right. So that's what I said. The fourth trimester or the first 3 months after your baby's out, that is when the hormones start playing havoc slowly, because there's a sudden decrease, the sudden fall in estrogen and all the good hormones which were making you glow and your hair look nice, all that starts going. So your hair fall is another big issue which comes up around that time. Pigmentation which is not going, so some of the pigmentation of your pregnancy will start fading by now. The acne should clear out, though I have a few patients who say that, doc, I don't know what's happened, the acne is still there. So there are a lot of other hormones like prolactin and all which are also high in a mother after the delivery. So they could be, but that is very rare. Generally the acne should clear out completely within the fourth trimester. Besides that, the
One of
stretching.
the questions that we are getting from a couple of mothers is, can we bleach the face during pregnancy, postpartum, or during breastfeeding?
Postpartum, it's perfectly all right. It's perfectly all right postpartum. During pregnancy, yes, some of my patients have bleached their faces and it does not go that deep. So it is fine, but I would not recommend it if you could hold off. Yeah.
So Silky had a question. So she would not recommend it during pregnancy, but postpartum or during breastfeeding, it is
Absolutely fine. Not an issue at all.
absolutely. So can you just tell us simple skincare regime for new moms? Because you're overwhelmed with doing so much, and now with the lockdown, you're almost like doing the household stuff, taking care of the family, the baby. So what is a simple skincare regime for our moms who are listening to us today?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I must tell this not only to the new moms, even the others who have logged in, that just because we are indoors, it doesn't mean we don't use a sunscreen. We have to use a sunscreen because we are most of the times on our screens. Most of us are either working from home on our computers or we are cooking. Both the things are equally bad as much as the sun exposure. So please use your sunscreen with a good SPF and repeat so it takes half an hour to get activated, any sunscreen. So once you apply it, don't start your computer or cooking or the LED lights, iPad for half an hour. And if you're going to have a long period of exposure, you need to reapply the sunscreen after 2 hours. And especially for the moms, the new moms who are there, most of the times we awake throughout the night, throughout the day, the televisions or the iPads are so close to our faces. Go ahead, use a lot of sunscreen because as it is, you're prone to pigmentation right now, and the pigmentation which is there from your pregnancy is just going to get darker. So we don't want that. Use your sunscreens in the morning. We have some very good combination creams. I don't know in the smaller towns if they would be available, but we can always, if they contact us, check and give them few options what would be available there. There are combinations of vitamin C with a moisturizer and a sunscreen, a 3-in-1, which can be used in the mornings, because then, we don't have time to actually layer up. The baby's crying, there's so much going on. So this is like a 3-in-1. It will do the work for mornings. And in the night, we must moisturize. Whether we have a dry skin or we don't have an oily skin or a combination skin. See what happens, most of us are in our 30s now. We are either in our late 20s, early 30s, or sometimes even in the late 30s. So this is the time, even as it is, when hormones are doing a havoc. Then after having a baby, it's a complete roller coaster going on. So our skin is changing. Don't expect it to be the same it was pre-pregnancy. It's like a new birth for you also, and your skin has to be looked after like a new baby. So we need to take that extra care of your skin if you want to look like this, even in your 5 year later photograph on Instagram. You want to look like you look pre-pregnancy, we need to take a little more care now. So I would recommend an active ingredient in your night care, like a vitamin C, a vitamin K, and a hyaluronic acid. These are basic components. You can check either with your dermatologist, or even if you go to the chemist, if you see good brands, anything, you'll find things with these components in it. If you use an active ingredient, what happens? The skin starts its repair, and it also starts its preventive care. Because I always say it's easier to catch the train before it's left the station. So we are still young. Let's start the anti-aging right now, especially when we need it the most, because the hormones are absolutely haywire post-pregnancy. So a good moisturizer and one active ingredient serum at night, a sunscreen in the morning, a good face wash. You could use something with a little glycolic acid if you feel there's a lot of pigmentation. No salicylic acid, no retinol in your face wash. If you feel your skin is really sensitive, even a mild cleanser is fine. No washing your face with a face wash more than twice a day. Also go a little easy on the besan and bajra and all that, because your skin is right now in a very sensitive zone. We don't want any breakouts. We don't want you to get any kind of rash or anything that could hamper you from giving the best to you and your baby. Just turmeric and malai is fine. If you feel there's a lot of pigmentation, you can take some almond powder, some turmeric and malai, and you can use that. Another thing, honey, we've got a lot during the talks that I do for the babies. We keep talking about the malish walis coming in for the babies, which I don't recommend at all. But I will definitely recommend a malish wali for the mother. Please pamper yourself. You do your baby's malish, that's your work. But let someone pamper you. Get a nice oil massage with cold pressed coconut oil, maybe badam oil if it suits you. Take a little time out for yourself, maybe half an hour a day, but look after your skin, because it's the thing that's going to last forever. It's going to be with you forever, and this time won't come back. So give yourself some time. A massage will help to, it'll increase the circulation to the skin throughout the body. Also, you'll feel a little relaxed, you'll feel rejuvenated. Then you could use some homemade packs for your face, for your body, along with the rest of the things. So that half an hour you can give, and then you can save that time and do your baby's massage yourself, which is a great mother-child bonding exercise and much safer for your baby.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, because I think in the thick of things, we honest most of the time forget to take care of ourselves,
Absolutely.
and we are running around with everything else being taken care of. Wanted to ask you a
And
little
if we
bit
start
about,
that, we're going to do it forever. I'm saying if we start neglecting ourselves now, we're going to do it forever.
absolutely, I think that's what happens. Uh, I wanted to touch upon a little bit about, people asking that they have new skin growths, and should they be worried? Simple skincare regime for, treating them, is that possible if I don't have access to a very expert or super specialist dermatologist in my city?
So the thing is that skin tags are very common when there is any hormonal change. So you generally see them in patients with PCOD, like young girls who have polycystic ovarian disease or syndrome. We have a lot of skin tags. Then women who have got a thyroid issue, women who suddenly put on a lot of weight, you suddenly come up with a lot of skin tags. Underarms, around the neck, below the breasts. Again, pregnancy is an issue where the hormones are going haywire, so you get these skin tags. There is the best thing to do for the skin tags is removal, and you don't need a super specialist for it. It's a very simple procedure. So even if you're dermatologist, you'll have some dermatologist in your city or town. It's a very basic thing. So it's one of the first things we do in residency. So don't worry at all. They give you a numbing cream and they will just cauterize it and it will all be done in 15 minutes. It's an OPD procedure. You'll be done with it and you can leave. So I would definitely recommend removing them because then you just keep getting more, and when there are too many then you don't feel like going in for it. So when you have a few also, you can go ahead and do it. Weight loss, when you finally lose weight, you will see that this stops, and sometimes they won't go away but you'll stop getting new ones. So once you're done with breastfeeding and everything, take your time. No need to be harsh on yourself or no need to rush too much. But once you lose around 5 kgs, all these things start reversing. It's not only the skin tag, sometimes you get this thick black discoloration behind your neck. So it feels like very leathery. That is also, it's called acanthosis. It's very common in pregnancy and to those people especially who are getting these skin tags. For that we have a retinol cream which they can use, but again that will not be used till the breastfeeding is done. Post that, and again at that time if they manage to lose some weight, so I would recommend, if they're getting time, 40 minutes brisk walking from as soon as they feel better. So maybe for some people it takes 15 days, 20 days post a C-section. Start walking, make it 10 minutes, increase it, because you need to stay fit. You just can't let yourself spread, because then otherwise these conditions will take much longer to get back to normal. So don't control your diet too much, especially if you're feeding your baby. Make it healthy, don't starve yourself. Your weight will go, but start some exercise. Maybe after feeding the baby, when you're burping the child, you can walk, but make the walk a little brisk. Two benefits: your child will fall asleep and you will also stay fit. So when you eventually lose 5 kgs, these conditions will start reversing. Go to any dermatologist, everyone knows how to do it, and get your skin tags removed.
Thank you. That was really helpful because a lot of times there are myths that we have around skin tags. We're not aware what to do. How soon should we do it? So thank you for touching upon those things. So we have a lot of people joining live. I just wanted to share with them that today we tried something new because yesterday we lost Dr. Preeti's session. We're actually live on Zoom with Dr. Shaista and we're live streaming it on Insta Live. So it's very interesting. There are a few questions saying that what should I do about breast sagging, and is that something that my dermatologist can address?
So basically, this is more of a question for a plastic surgeon. But I will tell you from personal experience and also from my patients that when you are breastfeeding, that time during a pregnancy, the breasts grow a lot, like the stomach. And then again, you're feeding, so it will take time. Once everything is stopped, the breasts do get less saggier. So I won't say it will go back to your pre-pregnancy breast. It won't look like that without any artificial intervention. But yes, with massages and after you stop feeding, that is whenever you stop feeding. So please don't rush to stop feeding thinking that it will, whenever you stop feeding, it will start going back to not what it was originally, but become better than what it is now. Then there are a lot of massages. We do threads. Yes, we do threads, but this is only post, like after you finish feeding, if you're done with your family, we have these very safe PDO threads. So we insert the threads and they stay for a span of 2 years. They're absolutely safe. It's the same suture material that we use to tie on the uterus when we remove the baby. So they're self-absorbable. They'll go off on their own, but that lift will remain for up to more than 2 years. So that is a much, that is what I can do for you as a dermatologist. Of course, if you'd like a breast lift, that is a completely different thing which a plastic surgeon could assess. But the threads also will help at least 45 to 55%. And that is a lot without a surgery.
Absolutely. So I think you've addressed a lot of key questions that, I think a lot of mothers face about skin and hair, the myths that there are around it. You've given us some very cool exercises that mothers can do without going through any invasive process. Is there any few tips or last words of wisdom that you would like to share with most of our moms today?
Yes. So basically, the skin, we need to prepare for the skin as it is, like I said, the age group in which we generally get pregnant is the time
If we lost.
Then our skin changes even if the pregnancies are even natural.
Mhm.
Interventions which are going on, IUIs, IVF. So there are more hormones being pumped into the body for these things. So again, there is more havoc than what would have naturally happened. So we are so busy, all the mothers are so busy looking after the baby and their own health that sometimes they forget the skin and hair. It becomes like, the very ignored part, when actually that is what you first look at when you look at a person. And then by the time we do realize, it's a bit late, because it's like, when you put a seed and the water you give, the tree shows it many years later. So in your 30s and during your pregnancy and postpartum, the way you're going to look after your skin and hair, it's going to show even up to your 50s. And now started conquering the world. By the time we feel we are there, perhaps we'll be in our 50s, and we'll still want to look like we look now in our 30s. So we need to invest some time, some effort into ourselves right now. I told you a lot of products which are safe in your pregnancy, which are safe postpartum. Lasers are safe. Or most of the things that have happened to you in your pregnancy will reverse themselves. So no stress, just stay happy and focus on yourselves first so you can be the best version for your baby.
Thank you so much on those words of wisdom, doctor, because I think that is something that, a lot of us ignore. But at the same time, I think your words of advice on that, we need to take some effort for it to actually look good, to actually take care of it more than it just looking good, for it to actually not go through any sort of, invasive process, or where it becomes worse than what it was. So I think those are very, very interesting takeaways for a lot of mothers today. I also want to let a lot of moms know that we tried again a new technology today. For people who've not heard it, we were on Zoom with Dr. Shaista, and we've live streamed it on Instagram. In case you all were having some issues on sound, etc., the live video between me and Dr. Shaista will be posted, so that y'all can watch it clearly and maybe note down the names of the medicines which y'all might have missed. So look forward to that. If y'all have any questions, please go to Dr. Shaista's page, Kolilens. It will be tagged on the post. Ask her any questions. She's right here to help you. We're happy to even create a Zoom consultation with her in case any of y'all would like recommendation on brands or particular creams that work for you versus, other mothers. So looking forward to hearing from moms in case they require an engagement with Dr. Shaista. And please visit her page. She has some amazing exercises which, you can watch her do, watch her showing you on, whether it's the double chin or taking care of your skin and skincare routines, etc. Thank you so much, Dr. Shaista, for your time today. I think everybody's kind of posting on Instagram, very informative talk. Thank you. Please come back again, and they want to hear more topics from you about, improving their skin and hair.
It's been a pleasure, honey. Thank you for this initiative. I hope we can help the new moms, and I tell the husbands also that give your wife a little time, help out a little, so that she can also look after her skin, and you will feel proud when you're walking next to her after a few years.
Absolutely. She looked like a super mom, truly a super mom.
Feel also, because it's not just about looking good. Health is just WHO says health is a feeling of well-being. So when you look good, when your skin is healthy, you actually feel well, healthy, and happy from inside.
Absolutely. And good, clear, breathing skin shows in your personality. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much. We actually had, like, a couple of yoga sessions as well, by Elvis Laksha, who runs Laksha Yoga. And it is all like that we're trying to bring to moms. It's about your mind, it's about your body, it's about your soul, it's about your skin. It's everything that you really need to work on in order to, feel good. And you can concentrate on some aspects more, whichever suits you. But it is so important to at least be aware. And that's what we're trying to do here with experts like you. So thank you so much for the time, for sharing all these little snippets, tips, and advice with most of our moms. Thank you, Dr. Shaista.
Okay, thank you, dear. Bye.
Thank you.